Hey, yo, I want to talk about this bloody card to start and all the jokes about what its name implies. And if you don't get why a card called Guy in the Chair is relevant to this video with this thumbnail, well sorry, I don't think I can explain that to you on YouTube. But what I can say is that even though the Spider-Man set was released several months ago, and even though it didn't sell very well, Guy in the Chair remains just relevant enough that I still occasionally hear jokes about it. Which in turn got me thinking about all of Magic and wondering how many other cards might unintentionally be sexually suggestive. The community-supported card database website Scryfall contains a function where info tags can be assigned to individual cards to make them easier to search. For instance, if you want cards with attack triggers set on Zendikar that also have a death trigger, you can search specifically for those tags and discover that Idol of the False Gods and Azlask both match that criteria. Sorry to give him his full title, Azlask the Swelling Scourge, as the actress said to the bishop. And some of those Scryfall tags can get wild. I'd never heard the term Zetai Ryoiki before until I'd looked up the tags for Avacyn here, and learned that oh boy is it popular in Magic. Boob plate is another one, nipple is in there, cleavage is very popular, and even specifically cleavage window is a tag. And it's thanks to this system that I now know that 9 Lives and Terra Magical Adept both are wearing high heels and tights, but only 9 Lives and Elspeth Sun's Champion have high heels and red lips. What a weird thing to catalogue. But I love this functionality honestly, you know, for nerd reasons. Though there's one tag that I find curious. Sexually suggestive. Because it makes me want to ask the question, to who? You see, other tags such as nipple piercing here are more objective and based in undeniability. Does the little dude in Unflinching Courage have pierced nipples? Yep, so it goes on the list. But does a publicly displayed pierced nipple mean the card is sexually suggestive? Well, I'm sure some people would answer yes to that, but on Scryfall at least it doesn't get the sexually suggestive tag. What about Tasiga the Golden Fang? I mean, those are pierced nipples again, but that's clearly not enough. But what about the pose, the whip, the 2 shirtless seemingly willing dudes in the background hidden by shadow? Seems pretty sexually suggestive to me, and yet also doesn't get the tag. So where's the line? The sexually suggestive tag is supposedly used for cards that hint at sexual intercourse or sexual acts, but I struggle to believe there are even 33 Magic cards that depict that. And what we've been discussing so far are artwork tags, as in tags solely for the images themselves. But what about the wording? Can a card's name, mechanic or flavor text provide new context for the art? Can you turn an otherwise completely PC image into something sexually suggestive? Scryfall say they try not to tag what is implied but instead what they've seen. However, can what is seen be reframed when given context? For instance, are you ever going to look at the art for Azlask the same way again now that I've implied it depicts an Eldrazi erection? And that's where all the jokes about this little freak come into the picture. Even me pointing out that his web support ability is probably a reference to Spider-Man's fluid really gives this card a whole new vibe, huh? So today we're going to take a bit of an unscripted look at the 33 cards Scryfall has deemed sexually suggestive to see if we can answer some of these questions. And then at the end, try to figure out why those cards in particular were given the tag while others weren't. And maybe suggest some new ones of our own that should be retroactively given the tag based on what we've learned. A quick disclaimer before we begin, because I haven't actually looked at this list of cards yet, so don't know exactly what we're in for. I think it is possible for something to be sexually suggestive without it being sexually exploitative, and I think it is possible to broach this subject without devolving into objectification. And I just want this video to be a bit of fun. I don't want to be harmful in any way, so please help me in that by being kind to each other and not saying gross stuff in the comments. Fair warning though, because I'm almost certainly going to be touching on subjects of a sexual nature, so if you're not comfortable with that, then I will fully understand if you click off the rest of the video. Especially given that Magic doesn't exactly have a great track record of being the most sensitive when it comes to certain topics, in particular regarding its depiction of women in the game sadly. But as I say, I haven't actually seen what's on the list yet, so maybe this warning isn't needed, and if you're listening to me speak right now, I assume post-recording editing Red decided that the contents of this video were okay enough to share. Also, maybe it's childish, but I think talking about sex stuff can be kind of silly. I don't know what we're in for today, but I expect a lot of giggling at art. So if like me you enjoy the suggestion that Swelling Scourge is a dick joke, then we're probably on the same page. After all, everything the community said about this card is what started me thinking about this. So I'm going to keep things about the same level. Let's begin. Right, this dweeb doesn't actually have the sexually suggestive tag. It doesn't even have the meme tag, which surprises me. But again, he was the inspiration for this video, and so for that, we're going to leave him on screen right here, right in the corner where I'm sure he's happiest watching on while we look at the rest of the cards. Let's start with these two that are silver bordered but do have the sexually suggestive tag, so are relevant. In fact, Flatterfy here I think already answers one of my questions about how these cards are tagged. Because look at that art. Can you see anything sexually suggestive about it? Maybe that's not a dragon's leg at the back there. Who knows? And I mean, even this one. Okay, that one's harder to defend as not being sexually suggestive. But also maybe I'm only saying that because I'm aware of the context. If I'd have seen this art on a regular card, would I have questioned it? I'm not sure. I mean, the flavor text is the same on both of them. It happens to every mage sooner or later, so I think yes, cards can be given the sexually suggestive art tag based not just on the art itself, but the art in context with the word surrounding it. That's especially true of the Flatterfy one. I think I'm going to have to rank these cards on how sexually suggestive I personally find them out of 5, and that's like a 3 and a 1. Because again, if it weren't for the text, I doubt I would have thought twice about these. Okay, yeah. Necro-impotence is another perfect example. Apart from maybe the manacles, which implies something. But the skeleton seems bored, if anything, not like horny. So the art doesn't scream sex at me. Okay, well the paddle on the other hand, that's a different matter. Yeah, there's definitely an implication there. So a 1 and a 4, I guess. But I feel like this has established that it doesn't have to just be the art alone for the card to get the tag. So I'm going to remember that going forward. Okay, well, Alluring Scent is provocative, that's for sure. But what's going on with Auriok Champion? I guess she's not wearing a lot, but her will shall banish the shadows, her might shall punish the lawless, her beauty shall restore the light. I mean, well, that's nothing. Is it the hand gesture? The thing that she's holding? Yeah, I'm not seeing why this would get the sexually suggestive tag. Okay, I'm going to say a 4 and a 1. There's loads of scantily clad people in card art. So why does Auriok Champion specifically get the tag? That's also something to look out for. Maybe we come back to this and reevaluate it in comparison once we see some more cards. Oh. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. That is unfortunate, isn't it? Oh no, look at that. Oh. No. Well, okay. I mean, Brainstorm is just sort of dumb in comparison. In all my years of research, I have quantify the baffling process known as inspiration. Yeah, I mean that's not Brainstorm's not like the other one, is it? I mean, I guess I can see why it gets the tag. A 2 and our first 5. Oh, very good. Oh, that's not going to be. Look at it. That's not going to be topped, is it? Look at the state of that. Christ. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I know. You know what? That's great, actually. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, that's funny. Oh, I haven't even looked at the other one. What? Sorry, I'm just distracted. Look at that. God damn. Crossway Vampire. Do not flatter fate. It did not guide you into my clutches tonight. That was all my doing. I mean, I guess she's wearing like a corset, but again, unless every Innistrad vampire is going to be on this list, I don't see why that one in particular would get the tag. Same as with the Auriok. I mean, because they're both kind of photorealistic, unless those people are porn stars or something. I'm just not seeing it. That clergy though, oh man, look. Oh, okay. I need to. Okay, this video is going off the rails. All right. Well, 5 and a 1, fantastic. I don't know what I was expecting looking at these, honestly. Okay, so another Innistrad card, in Deadly Allure, I mean. That one is a bit more... But again, it's not an especially outrageous depiction of a vampire on Innistrad. They're all kind of dressed like that, and they're supposed to be alluring because they're hunting people. But then, to be fair, I probably would fall for it. I'd probably let her bite me. But again, that's alluring, though. It's not necessarily sexually suggestive, I don't think. Or at least not so much so that it deserves to get the tag over all of the other cards with similar poses. Or at least I wouldn't have tagged it that way. Deadly Alliance, I also sort of don't get. He could handle any one of us, but he's no match for all of us. The way that tags, you need more than one person to submit a tag for these cards on Scryfall to get them tagged. So that means that multiple people must have looked at this and agreed that this is sexually suggestive. I mean, I kind of get it, but he's clearly being stabbed. It's kind of a vibe, but I don't see it. Okay, a 2 and a 3, I guess. I'm not sure what the connective tissue is here. Oh, okay. Well, that's 2 good examples here. First off is Earthbind, the OG. I don't know if this is the first sexually suggestive card in Magic, but it's certainly the most sexually suggestive card in Magic to my mind. Looking at this, whenever I see this, it always reminds me of the guy that created Wonder Woman was really into bondage, and that's why she's got the lasso and is always tying people up. And I think that's why she's got the big boots as well. It's fascinating to me whenever someone takes what is clearly like a kink and kind of incorporates it into the art that then goes mainstream and just kind of gets absorbed by the zeitgeist. Because, you know, families were watching the Wonder Woman TV show back in the 70s without really knowing that the guy that made it was living, I think, with his wife and mistress at the same time. You know, good for them if they're happy. But, you know, people didn't know that, so it didn't get any outrage behind it, which I think if it was released now and that was made public knowledge, people would be up in arms about it. Elvish Ranger, I mean, that's some artwork right there that's straight off the cover of a cheesy romance novel. That looks less like a Magic card and more like a hair metal band poster, you know? It's not horny as an image, I guess. Or certainly not as horny as Earthbind. But I'd agree that that's suggestive, I think. So yeah, a 5 and a 4 then. Okay. Is that... Let's start with... I was looking at Essence Vortex, but let's start with Gwendolyn. Urbog became the final resting place of many swordsmen of renown. They're still outmatched by the wiles of Gwendolyn. Oh, even the flavor text is suggestive. Well, okay. Because, I mean, if you look at the art, she's clearly undressing him. I think that's his hat on the bed. And I think that is a bed. So, okay. Oh, look. Oh, he's got a knife. I didn't notice that. But the expression on his face... Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious as to what the artist is implying is going to happen next. Again, not that horny of a card, but it is the first depiction of people who I think are about to have sex, so yeah, okay. Essence Vortex. Masters who sacrifice for servants will receive the gift of loyalty. Well, okay, well now I'm confused. Is she the servant or is she the master? I assume she's the master and she's sacrificing her clothing in the frozen ice, the tundra for her servant. See, I would have argued that based on the art alone, just a woman being undressed isn't inherently sexual or sexually suggestive. Women can be, like, naked, and it doesn't mean that they're trying to appeal to the male gaze, or female gaze. But, yeah, I think with the flavor text, I actually would say this is suggestive, so 4 and an easy 5. Haunting Apparition. Okay. Like some foul herd beast, it grazes on the dead. What? Why is this here? Is it the pipe between his legs? I'm not getting this one. Let me know in the comments. What am I not seeing here? And then Jinxed Choker, no flavor text. She's been given some very pouty lips in the art, but again, women are allowed to have lips and it not be a sex thing, you know? She might be being implied to be naked. Let me read the mechanics. At the end of your turn, target opponent gains control of Jinx Choker and puts a charge counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, Jinx Choker deals damage to you equal to the number of charge counters on it. Spend 3, put a charge counter on Jinx Choker, or remove 1 from it. So she does have the ability to take that off, and although it is hurting, she's choosing to keep it on whilst naked, and she can give it to the person she's playing against, and they can kind of trade it back and forth. They're sharing it. Yeah, I think that counts. Alright, a 0 and a 4 then? Next up, Keeper of the Mind. Is that just meant to be jism coming out of that skull? Can't believe I've said jism in a video. Is any card featuring white liquid just going to be on this list? For fuck's sake. I just looked at Nimbleclaw Adept. Oh, fuck Christ. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at oh, look at that. Oh, this video's dumb. Video's a dumb idea. Okay, that's a 1 and a 5, I guess. This is a stupid video. God. Resurrection and Revel in Fortune. Well, I mean, I get why both of these cards would have the tag. On Resurrection, it's the dude's face, like his look, that's really selling it. And that's some real sensible armor on Reversal of Fortune, and a very normal way to stand, and a very normal pose to strike while looking at something. This is how every woman picks something up to look at it, right? Finger on lips, boobs pressed out. That's, yeah, completely justified. 3 and a 4 for these. Runner's Blade and Sanguine's Blood. Come on now. Okay, Sanguine Blood first. And this is obvious. When I agreed to let who I thought was my friend Astarion drink my blood in Baldur's Gate 3, because, you know, he approached me and was like, oh, please, I need it or I'll die. I'm a vampire. I'm starving or whatever. And I agreed as a friend. I was very taken aback by how sexual he made the whole affair almost immediately. I wanted to be like, whoa, hey, well, I never agreed to that. You're like, drink it out my arm, dude. Jeez, you don't need to straddle me. Chill. Shadowheart's just over there. You know, what's she gonna think? Though I hear later they did turn down how horny the companions are for the player in the game since I played it. They did that in a later patch, I think. But Runner's Bane, again, that could be glue. There's not any flavor text. And it just looks too viscous to be bodily fluid. And I don't think there's anything particularly suggestive about any of the words. If you'd have presented this card to me, I would never have assumed it was sexually suggestive, I don't think. Well, maybe a bit, but... Okay, a 1 and a 4. Mind you, Sanguine Bond, I don't think that's a recreation of the scene with me because they're both shirtless, which means they're probably into it. They're like, this is an agreed thing. Careful, I bite, says the flavor text. No, actually, I think that's a 5. I think that's a 5. I think they're getting it on. Ah, dear God. Serum Visions. I mean, that sort of looks like sperm swimming towards an egg there. But also it's not that, it's just, well, serum, I suppose, splooging its way towards that person's face. Okay, but the Sheevin Dragon, oh man, look at that. This is some childish shit. Look at that. This is really immature. I'm laughing at that. Okay, a 4 and a 4 too, I guess. This is dumb. Yep, okay, that's good. Okay, yeah, that's good. Spellseeker. The eyes of that skull are placed in a very unfortunate position. This actually looks like the same art style that was on that Sheevin Dragon, which makes me wonder if this was intentional. Oh, yeah, no, it was the same artist. I wonder if this was knowingly done then, with like a wink and a nudge. But then Stonecloaker. Oh wait, no. Oh no, look, he's facing towards us, that dude, at the bottom. You can see the dude's eyes at the bottom. I totally thought he was facing the gargoyle. Yeah, okay. Unintentional, this one, but I think it still counts. Because what's sexually suggestive about it isn't actually the art itself, but it's what your brain first sees before it looks at the art proper. And it's not intentionally... But then, you know, neither is Spellseeker. In fact, thinking on it, none of these are intentionally sexually suggestive, I don't think. Apart from Gwendolyn, and I guess that's Sanguine Bond. So, unintentional sexual suggestion still gets the tag, right? Good to bear that in mind as well. So, a 4 and a 3, I guess? Succumb to Temptation and a Swamp. And it's just another vampire on Innistrad, but you know what? No. If you look, he's doing what our friend is doing on the side of the screen there. The man who's undressing clearly isn't looking at the vampire, but someone else in the room. So that vampire is just a guy in a chair. Now, you know what? I'm going to allow that one, actually. I'm not going to push back against that. But this is an argument that the guy in the chair from Spider-Man should get the tag too for the same reason. But the swamp... Oh, okay. Is it because the skeletons are pregnant? Or they look pregnant? Is being pregnant sexually suggestive? Are there many pregnant people depicted on cards? I mean, I guess if you're pregnant, it suggests that you've had sex, so 4 and a 2, I guess, for these cards, and then tempting licit is... Oh, no, okay, no, it took me a second to register, but if you look close, that little guy's hand is in a very suspicious position for the dude above him to be pulling that face. And, I know this card. I forgot this existed, to be honest. Obviously, if I'd have thought about it, this would be on the list. This is the one where the monkeys or the chimps or whatever are banging in the background. And if that's not sexually suggestive, then I don't know what is. 4 and a 5. And we end on Vampire's Bite. No flavor text. Yeah, I mean, it's just another vampire who's not wearing very much. I've talked about the vampires from Innistrad, but the Zendikar vampires are also not particularly conservatively dressed, so why does this one get the tag and the others don't? This is about as sexually suggestive as Princess Leia was in that bikini, which in fairness is more than none at all. But, you know, let's bring 9 Lives back up, because that one doesn't get the tag. And yeah, she's more covered up, but look at the pose, look at the angle that's showing off her bum. And we're saying that that's less sexually suggestive than Vampire's Bite? I don't get it. I don't get the rhyme or reason. Anyway, a 2 for the bikini-clad vampire. Sexually suggestive, though. Some of those cards we saw were really odd choices. I don't know why some scantily clad people like that Oriok or the Vampire's Bite were included, but others like 9 Lives didn't get the tag. Like I say, basically every Innistrad vampire could probably be justified into getting that tag, because all of them are dressed in bondage gear, basically. In fact, there's even that Olivia Voldaren that famously has the lump in her skirt that looks like her knee until you realise that both of her feet are next to one another. So it can't be her knee then, that lump under her skirt between her legs has to be something else then. I'm surprised that's not on here. So I guess that's my first pick. Okay, yeah, I've got a couple in mind. 6 suggestions, no, like 8 suggestions, now that I'm thinking more about Innistrad. I've got some non-Innistrad ones in mind as well. Okay, let's do this. I've got 8 cards off the top of my head that I think should get the sexually suggestive tag. Here we go. First up, a couple of Innistrad classics. This one is the Olivia that I mentioned. You can see she's not lifting her skirt, but just like resting her hand on that lump. Both her feet are together at the bottom, so it can't be her knee. And we've established that even something that is sexually suggestive unintentionally still gets it, so I think this should get the tag. Okay, next. Chosen of Markov, which shows like a young innocent girl being corrupted and then turned into like, well, a sexualized dominatrix type on the reverse of the card. And again, I'm not sure that if all of these were up to me, I would have given most of these the sexually suggestive tag. But in comparison to some of the other characters that do actually get the tag, I think that this is more deserving of it for sure. So this is my pick. For these next 2, we have Soul Collector from Scourge and Lost Souls from Legends. And yes, I did have to look that up. I was surprised when the card Imprison got banned for racist depictions, but this one made it through. Which means I guess they're saying this isn't a slavery thing, which can only mean it's a bondage thing then. And if that's the case, I think it's deserving of the tag. Lost Soul is a little different, and I don't think would make the cut if it weren't for the flavor text. Her hand gently beckons, she whispers your name. Hot. Next is 2 that I can't believe don't already have the tag. This Bearscape was part of a Pride secret lair. And come on, look at these dudes. They're like 5 minutes away from lovingly getting it on. And Khan Liberated, well, what do I have to say? Look at that chiseled magnificence. Pure, undiluted sex appeal. And finally, 2 more from Innistrad. Night Revelers, because, well, I mean, again, like I say, most of the Innistrad vampires would fit on this list perfectly by what I've seen so far. But I've gone for this one because this is further evidence that I would not survive for long on Innistrad. This is a vibe, I mean, they would get me. And lastly, Flowering Lumberknot, because we proved it's not just the art but also the text. The tags don't have to be for the art alone, and again, this card is called Flowering Lumberknot. So you know, what that mouth do. What did you guys think? This video has escaped me. Do the cards tagged on Scryfall as sexually suggestive make sense? Do you agree my suggested card should get the tag? And that's the end of the video. Oh dear, look at that. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you to everyone that supports me, like 27 publications. Egg Boy the particle that permeates all existence, blank space, Wanpako Jozu, Miss Murder, a random Patreon, ominous jazz. That card is still on my screen as I'm reading this bit out. And the rest of my patrons whose names are on screen now. I'd also like to thank the sponsor for this video, me on my Patreon page where you can get your name credited on screen too. Check it out in the link in the description below. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Oh, that card. Most importantly, subscribe and share this video with a friend. Is that from the... No, I've just looked. It's not the same artist that did those, that Sheevin Dragon and the other one. So I think that's just unintentional. That is so... Look at the state of it. God damn. God damn. Where was it? Hit the notification bell and do all those things the algorithm loves. If you agree or disagree with any of my points, or you want to see me do a video on another subject, let me know and I will see you next time. This video is a mess. What am I doing? Welcome to a quick Olivia Voldupdate. Nailed it. In the time between me originally recording this and getting it edited, Scryfall has updated the list of cards that it considers sexually suggestive. I'm not sure why the top two of these are Jaws cards. Unless a shark attacks somebody's kink. I know for a fact it can't just be that the women depicted are wearing bikinis, because A, bikinis aren't inherently sexually suggestive, and B, bikini is its own tag and most of those cards there aren't on the sexually suggestive list, so I don't know, that implies there's something particularly sexual about these cards. Anyway, if we scroll down, you'll see that Olivia Voldaren has now in fact been added to the list. This was not my doing, and so hey, I was clearly onto something with my suggestions. That's very validating. But if we look, we'll see it's more than just the one card that got added, because the list now has 43 cards on it. And while I want to talk about all of them now, because that's kind of what this video is, I won't because A, this video is long enough. Originally this was going to be a deck tech too, but I edited all of that out because we were hitting something like 50 minutes in length. I can't be doing that in a week, that's going to kill me. Just too much editing, just too much work. I will show you this screen though, because I spent a couple of hours going through what I thought would be the most sexually suggestive basic lands for the sexually suggestive deck. Obviously the island made it on there, and the swamp from the video. But yeah, if you spotted any weird cuts or edits while listening to the video, that's probably me chopping out a bit where I start talking about deck composition or whatever. It wasn't a good deck, you're not missing out on anything, trust me. Anyway, I've gone off topic. So there are more sexually suggestive cards now, but I'm not going to talk about them here. Maybe I'll do another video on that at some point. Maybe I'll make it Patreon exclusive. Or more likely I'll just forget entirely. Any which way, I hope you had fun. Enjoy an outtake. Boob plate is another one. Boob plate is another one. Let's do a second take of that. Boob plate is another one. Nipple is in there. Cleavage is very popular. Oh no, this is going to take ages to record. Cleavage is very popular, and even specifically cleavage window is a tag.